local champions to solve pressing needs in their local communities. These 9 experienced leaders will receive support to take on and complete locally identified projects in towns across rural Kansas. There was one local leader selected, that is Emily Campbell of Hoxie, coordinating a healthy food pathway across 9 western counties with grower alignment and retail activation. In other news, Jade Beckman, a senior from Oakley High School, has been honored as the Keisha-covered Capital Federal True Blue Student of the Week. The article, written by Rick Peterson Jr. of Keisha Covered, touches on how difficult her senior season has been for her with an injury that wiped out her final sports season with the Lady Plainsmen. Despite that difficulty, she still showed up for her teammates. Keep up to date with local news at nwksradio.net.
Today and tomorrow will be exceptionally dry and warmer with highs in the mid to upper 80s. High pressure overhead, making it sunny with southerly winds generally 5 to 15 miles per hour. That'll be below fire weather criteria, and lows will be in the mid to upper 40s. For Wednesday, we have gusty south winds 20 to 40 miles per hour. Highs will reach into the upper 80s to low 90s, and a dry line along Highway 25 may trigger some scattered storms. Fire weather conditions and blowing dust are possible, and lows will be in the lower 40s. Thursday, a cool front drops temperatures into the low 70s. Gusty north winds 20 to 40 miles per hour, and chances for showers in the evening and overnight. Lows will be in the middle 30s. Friday and over the weekend, a trough and a couple disturbances from the west increase chances for rain. Friday's highs will be in the 60 to 65 degree range. Saturday and Sunday in the 50s. This meteorologist Chris Schromick at the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Saturday night, June 27th, an incredible evening at the Colby Event Center. NWKS Radio presents Colin Ray. Colin Ray in concert. Without you, baby, I'm not. Opening the show, Walker Montgomery. Tickets available now at nwksradio.net.
Brought to you by Hoover Lumber, Farmers and Merchants Bank, the Bottle Gallery, Bath Construction, the Colby Convention and Visitors Bureau, Hayden Outdoors, High Plains Co-op, Triple R Insurance, Colby Ag, Great Western Tire, Western State Bank, Goodland Regional Rollins County Hospital, and Twisters.
That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Colin Ray with special guest Walker Montgomery, Saturday night, June 27th at the Colby Event Center. That's when I knew you were my kind of. Get your tickets now at nwksradio.net. Presented by NWKS Radio.
Brought to you by Outdoor Bank, Colby Livestock Auction, Morton Buildings, Northwest Ag Services, Goodland Furniture, Paradise Spas, Fromm Family Farms, Office Works and Home Furnishings, Ballman Mortuary, Agra Equipment, Stevens Construction, High Plains Doors, and Nextech Wireless.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Give me my cane. I'll show you how to play this game.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
Cowgirls hunting them, and they're finding them. Stargell with another 3.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work. First pitch, breaking ball, turned on to right field, sending Basir back to the wall. It's out of here in the body porch. And just like that, Nebraska takes the lead.
Buckets free. McKinnon has it towards the net. Save made Forsberg. Rebound score! We're up all night to get lucky. Mr. Dependable, always when you need him, Arturi Lehkonen cashes in on the doorstep, and the deadlock is broken.
First pitch swinging and first pitch crunching. Deep right center field. Forget about it. The Rockies have the lead. It's in the bullpen.
Here's a pass, a shot, score! Montiel Samuelson! Absolute madness!
And good Monday morning, everybody. We are off and rolling here on the Morning Blitz on Rocket 102.5 KLOE, NWKSradio.net, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend and is ready to dive into another week. Once again, before we get going in today's show, I want to give a big thank you to everyone that participated in this previous year's radio auction on Friday. So the NWKS radio auction that took place on Friday, full day of all kinds of great items, services, products up for auction, and we had a great turnout. We had some phenomenal bidders, and we had a record year. And so thank you to all you out there that were able to be a part of that. It was great to have you on and be a part of the radio auction. It was fantastic to have everybody be a part of that. And so thank you for making that such a success that it was here this past Friday. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. God, it was a beautiful weekend, wasn't it? I know we didn't get any precipitation like we were hoping to see. We definitely did not see that, but the weather was nice. The temperature was nice. And looks like we're going to have some more good weather here early on this week, at least. We've got temperatures in the mid-80s today with some sunshine and very light winds. So a beautiful Monday on tap. Kind of the same for Tuesday. Wednesday, maybe a chance of thunderstorms, but temperature is going to remain in the upper 80s, but much more windier on Wednesday. Thursday, temperatures in the 70s. And that kind of begins a cool down, at least as we sit here right now, into the next weekend. You've got a slight chance of rain showers in the afternoon on Friday and rain on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, there's rain. There's chances of rain coming up pretty much Friday through Sunday as we sit here right now. I don't want to sit here and speculate anything more than that. But after about first 4 days of the week, Monday through Thursday, with some really good weather, a lot cooler temperatures coming Friday and the foreseeable future. Here on the High Plains. Today's program, we will be getting into our weekend winners and losers here in just a little bit. We will also be visiting with our good friend back from a I don't want to say back from a long hiatus. He just hasn't been on the show in a while, and that's all right. Henry Chisholm from DNVR Broncos be stopping by. The NFL draft gets going here later this week. We'll get his thoughts on it from the Broncos perspective. It's also a great time to just be a Colorado sports fan with what's happening with, of course, the Broncos having a great season this previous fall and early part of winter. And then, the Avalanche having a great start to their playoffs. The Nuggets as well, 1-0 in their playoff series. So, yeah, lots of excitement. The Rockies have won back-to-back games over the Dodgers. So, yeah, lots and lots of fun things to get to here on this Monday Morning Blitz with Henry Chisholm. So we'll talk with him about all that, and we'll get to the leftovers as well. So plenty of things to get to here on a Monday show. We were planning once again on having our new co-host Garrett Welbrock with us. He's having some technical issues this morning with his setup. So if he is able to get those worked out, we will have him on. But he is having some technical issues, trying to figure out how to get a few things working on his end. So when he has those up and running, we will try to get him on the program. If not, I guess we'll get those ironed out today and hopefully have him on tomorrow. So we'll make it work with what we got. But we got plenty to get to here on a Monday show. As always, the F&B Bank text line open at 785. I shouldn't say as always, as it is now. The F&B Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, if you would like to get your thoughts and comments and questions in, we'd love to hear from you there on the FNB Bank text line. 785-899-2222 is the number to be part of the Morning Blitz each and every day, with the text line being up and running, and it is. So if you want to get those thoughts and comments in, please do so. All right, let's get right to it. We got to get to our weekend winners as well as weekend losers. Here we go.
There are two kinds of people in this world.
There's winners and there's losers.
Which ones were which this past weekend?
I want winners. Loser? You're a loser.
It's the weekend's winners and losers on the Morning Blitz.
Want to be a winner, be a winner.
All right, here we go on a Monday morning. Time for weekend winners here on the Morning Blitz. I want to start locally and then kind of work my way out. I will start first and foremost, a shout out. First win of the weekend, Colby Community College baseball, as the Trojan baseball team ends up with a series victory over Garden City this past weekend. As we all know, we followed it pretty closely on this program. It's been a challenging season for Colby Community College baseball. It was a tough year last year. This year, I think visiting with Coach Carter earlier in the season when it really got going, he felt good about his team, thought it'd be a much better season. He really liked the team, and unfortunately, the wins just haven't really come to the level that they had hoped for at this point in time. They still have a losing record, but they do end up winning just their second Jayhawk Conference series of the season as they take 3 out of 4 against Garden City. Of course, back on Thursday, they split where they won 9-3, but then lost 8-7. And then on Saturday, a couple of high-scoring games, but they get the win by 10-run rule in 6 innings in game number 1 on Saturday, 17-7, and then turn around and have to win and hold on and win to game number 4 of that series, 17-15. And so they pick up a couple of nice wins there. And, it's been a bit of a tough stretch. We were talking about going back to, let's see, how far back was that? I'll pull this up on my thing here. But, you had Barton where they won 3 out of 4 against Barton. And then they split with Seward the following weekend. They split with Pratt. And then they have taken 3 out of 4 against Garden. So after a very tough start to the season, which is kind of expected because you took on Cloud and Butler and Hutch, probably the 3 best teams in the conference. You took them on right out of the gate the first 3 series. They've been able to get splits in the previous 2 series before taking 3 out of 4 against Garden City here this past weekend. Tip of the cap to Turner Zdunic, their top player in game 1, their 17-7 win. He had a 5 RBI performance, did Turner Zdunic. So anyway, Colby now 17-29 overall, 10-18 in league play. My first winner of the weekend. My second winner of the weekend, a shout out to Nebraska baseball. Nebraska baseball, a winner of the weekend with what happened this previous week up in Lincoln as they swept number 12 USC there at Haymarket Park. All three of the wins for Nebraska baseball were by walk-off fashion, but they were different. Game one was a come-from-behind performance of epic proportions where Nebraska was down 5-0 going into the sixth inning before they finally scored a couple of runs. They were able to find a way to tie the game, I believe, at 7, going in the bottom of the ninth to extend it into extras, and then able to walk it off in the 10th. I think it was a bunt. There was a bunt in front of the plate, which the pitcher picked it up and flinged it to first, and it flew away. And Nebraska had a guy on first base, came around to score and win that game over number 12th ranked USC in game one. And from that point forward, the floodgates opened and they just dominated going forward. Did Nebraska baseball. They won by run rule, the 10-run rule deal, the next two games over a top 15 ranked USC baseball team, which came in with one of the best pitching staff ERAs in all of college baseball. And they absolutely crushed them. I mean, you're giving up, it was like 12-2 in game number 2. And then yesterday, I think it was 16-6. We talked about it with our good friend from D1 Baseball, Eric Sorensen, last week. And I made the comment, who do you give the advantage to, pitching or to bad hitters when it comes to that? And he goes, and I would agree with him, you give the advantage to pitching, but that was not the case this past weekend in Lincoln. The bats were absolutely white hot for Nebraska, and they pounded USC. And Nebraska has now gone, it was their first ranked series sweep since 2008. It had been a long time since they'd gotten it done, but that's not the only stat for 2008. They're now number 14 in the RPI, and they are looking to host a regional for the first time since 2008. There's good news and there's bad news with that. The good news is you're in the hunt. The bad news is you've got a series coming up against Kansas, who's also playing really good. More on that in just a second. That's a humongous game for your RPI if you're Nebraska, and for Kansas too, by the way. But then past that, you don't have a lot of areas for slip-ups or gaining ground. In fact, any game loss is really going to hurt your RPI with the rest of the schedule that lays in front of Nebraska baseball. There's no real other super big challenges in conference play. You've had these two big series these last 2 weekends with Oregon and USC. Now with going a combined, 4-2 in those 6 games of those 3-game series. Now you need to pretty much go the rest of the way without tripping up anywhere. And then you're going to put yourself in a good position to have a possible regional. But if you have a slip up somewhere where you lose a game here and you lose a game there, even if you don't lose the series, I still feel like it's really going to hurt your chances with the RPF. If Nebraska had beaten Oregon in one of those 2 games that they lost, probably would have put them in a better position to be in the hunt for a regional for sure. But they're on the cusp, but they have to keep winning. And a great weekend it was with the sweep of USC in Lincoln. But like I mentioned, it was also a great weekend for KU and K-State. I mean, Kansas got blown out of the water on Saturday in game 1 of their doubleheader at Oklahoma State. They lost 13-2, but they bounced back to win games 2 and 3 of that series to continue their great pen. I saw that they were up to, I think, in college baseball America, in Baseball America's college poll. That's what it was. I saw that they were ranked number 15, I think is what it was. Yeah, KU was up to number 15 at this point in time. But nonetheless, a great weekend for KU baseball. After a tough opening game, they respond well and get the win over Oklahoma State, which is one of the better programs in all the Big 12 baseball, particularly when it comes to facilities and that kind of stuff. And then K-State, they went all the way down to Arizona, which has been a powerhouse in the Pac-12 and in the Big 12. They've been a great program as Arizona for many years. K-State goes down there, and they end up taking 2 out of 3 against the Wildcats down there in Tucson. So a good weekend for KU and K-State baseball, who, them like Nebraska, are also in the hunt to continue their season into the postseason here after the conference tournament weekends coming up, in about a month or so. So very exciting times for regional baseball here. Nebraska with a chance possibly to host for the first time since 2008, and KU and K-State. Kansas might be in a shot to host as well. We'll see if they keep on winning. They could certainly be in a spot for that, but great weekend for Nebraska baseball. One more winner here before we get to our weekend losers here on the Morning Blitz. As always, FB Bank text line is open, 785-899-2222. We do have texts coming in, and we will get to these coming up here shortly. In fact, got a lot of texts to get to here in just a little bit. So, but just bear with me. We will get to these here in just a matter of moments. But I do want to get to my winner here of my other final winner of the weekend. And I got to give a shout out to Oklahoma State women's basketball. We've talked about them a lot on this program for the simple fact that we know that former Goodland Cowgirl Telexa Weeder has signed to play at Oklahoma State. And yeah, it's been a phenomenal portal season for Oklahoma State basketball. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because actually I bookmarked this, but anybody see the news? I think it was either this morning or yesterday. This news came down about Oklahoma State that they signed one of the top players in the portal again in Big Audie Crooks, the young lady from Iowa State, the 6'3" big who averages 26 points and almost 8 rebounds per contest. So this is the transfer portal haul for JC Hoyt, former Hoxie Lady Indian, Northwest Kansas kid, and now coaching Oklahoma State. This is the portal haul for her at Oklahoma State. Audie Crooks, probably the best post player in the portal. Liv McGill, who was at Florida averaging 22.5 points per game. A couple of other 6'1" girls, one from Rutgers who averaged 15 points, and one from Lindenwood who averaged 14 points. L.A. Sneed, a guard from Utah, and then Telexa Weeder, of course, who was Division II's basketball's top scorer, MIAA Player of the Year. That's the portal haul. Just all on one team at Oklahoma State. That is a massive win. I mean, this was a women's program that has had success. Man, they went to the tournament. They won a first-round game. They got blown out. And I don't know if something was said in the postseason meetings, but, Oklahoma State pretty much said, we're going to lose everybody, and we're going to start over from scratch. And I don't know what JC Hoyt said to boosters or anything like that, but they have backed up the Brinks truck to dump on the Cowgirl basketball program there in Stillwater. They have a lot of money that they are throwing at this program, and they are by looking at the roster. There is an unbelievable amount of talent that is going to be at Oklahoma State. They have gone from being a program that was maybe in the top half of the Big 12 to now being maybe being, at least roster-wise, a top 5 basketball team in all of women's college basketball with what they've done. It's amazing. I mean, when you think about it, all these other great players, Telexa Weeder's a phenomenal player, and she's going to get overlooked by Audie Crooks, Liv McGill, these other Ellie Brueggemann, these other players that they've brought in. It's unbelievable what they've done at the Port of Oklahoma State. Now, I am going to say with that, this could also mean massive trouble. You're going to have a lot of players on this team that have been the stars at their respected places. Who is willing to take a little bit of a backseat and be more of a role player and not the star player is the question. That's going to be a big one. You have all these players. Audie Crooks was a star at Oklahoma, or was a star at Iowa State. Liv McGill was a star at Florida. Telexa Weeder was the star at Fort Hays State. You got a lot of players that were stars at their respective programs. Who is willing to kind of take a little bit of a sidestep role and say, hey, you know what? I'm willing to kind of just be that person off the bench. Or I'm willing to just be the shooter on the outside. I'm willing to let this person be the driver. I'm willing to this person to score more points than me because they have, they're unstoppable force. Who is willing to do that? It takes a gargantuan coaching effort to take all of these great players and great egos. If you're a great player, you're going to have some sort of ego. Taking these egos and saying, we got to play together. That's going to be very hard to do. Very hard to do. So JC Hoyt has got her hands full when it comes to dealing with this roster. But congratulations to her on a phenomenal portal class that her and Oklahoma State have put together. Now the work begins on how do we get these kids to play as one? And that could be really challenging. But, man, it is an impressive portal haul. An unbelievable portal haul. Liv McGill and Audie Crooks together is nuts. You throw in the D2 player of the year is crazy, and these other great players that were phenomenal players at their respective schools. It's crazy. Crazy to think about for sure. No doubt a winner of the weekend, Oklahoma State women's basketball. What a absolute showing for sure. Those are my weekend winners. Let's see here. Let's go to the EpiBank text line, 785-899-2222. Larry chimes in and says, Crooks and Weeder, what a combo. Congratulations to Coach Hoyt. It's a crazy combo, Larry. That is for sure. Michael chiming in on our FB Bank text line, 785-899-2222. His winner of the weekend is Coach Bill Self signing Toledo guard Leroy Blyden Jr. And he goes, Darren Peters has declared for the draft yet. Oh, my. Oh, please, Michael. And then let's see here. Drew chiming in says, how about those Rockies? I'm pretty sure they didn't even get close to winning a series against the Dodgers. And tonight they have a chance to get one. I didn't put them in my winners, but you're right, Drew. In fact, the Rockies are the first team from the National League to beat the Dodgers this season. And they've beat them in back-to-back games, both on Saturday and Sunday. And like you said, yes, tonight at 6:40 Mountain Time, the Rockies have a chance to take a series from the Dodgers if they can win 3 out of 4. They lost on Friday, but they've won ever since. We'll see if they get it done tonight. Exactly right there. Thanks again for that comment on the F&B Bank text line. For, what is that? Jared says, what is it? First series win. Oh, since what? What is this? First series win last year was August. Yeah. Against the Dodgers. Yeah. So, yeah, it's we'll see. We'll see what happens. But a big time series come up for our big game tonight for the Rockies for sure. See if they can pull that off and hand the Dodgers I think it'd be their first series loss of the season. So there you go, my weekend winners. Let's quickly get to losers. Don't have a lot of time, but we got to get to Henry Chisholm here. I'll throw quick losers out there. A couple of quick ones. Louisiana Tech pregame festivities. They happen to see that Virginia Tech, of course, they had their spring game this past weekend. It's the starting of the James Franklin era there at Va-Tech. They had a parachuter come in with the American flag for the pregame festivities, and the wind was a little tough, and it was misjudged by the parachuter, and he crashed into the scoreboard, the video board. That was not good. He had apparently walked away with some, I think like his arm was in a sling or something. Maybe it was a broken arm or something, but the parachuter crashed into the scoreboard facilities. Hopefully that's not an omen for what's going to happen in the James Franklin era at Va-Tech. Hopefully that's not the case. Also, a loser of the weekend, the New York Metropolitan baseball team. They have lost 11 in a row, have the New York Mets. Yesterday, they had a chance to win 1-0 over the Cubs, but the Cubs scored a run in the 9th to tie it and another run in the 10th to win it, make it now 11 straight losses for the New York Mets. And really, the Mets don't have they have some competition for the worst team in baseball. That would be the Kansas City Royals, who are tied with the Mets with the worst record in MLB at 7-15. The Royals have lost, is it 7 in a row now? I want to say that right. Might be 6. Let's see here. They've lost 10 of their last 12, and 7 in a row have the Royals with that loss at New York against the Yankees this past weekend. And it's not the fact that the Royals lost. I mean, yeah, they lost. Okay, I get it. But I'm telling you, there was some stuff happening in that series that I'm kind of like, this is not a good look or a good omen for the rest of the season. You had guys in the outfield not communicating, letting balls drop in the outfield because no one was talking. Happened yesterday. There was a ball hit out towards shallow left field. Going back is Garcia. In comes the left fielder. Nobody talks. Nobody said, let's it go. It lands. It happened a couple times in this series. There was a video that somebody caught, I saw on social media, where the pitch, they called the pitch in, and the catcher caught the pitch or got the signal from the pitch caller, looked up at the sky and rolled his head and called it. And the very next pitch was bombed out. It was a 2-run homer for the Yankees. And of course, there's been the story, of course, about how Salvador Perez needs a mental break, and he doesn't think he does. And so Matt Quatrero and him are on they tried to clear the air. I don't know if it's happened, but not looking good for the Royals. Not looking good for the Royals, that is for sure. After that sweep at New York, they lose on Sunday 7-0, but they have lost 10 of their last 12 and 7 in a row. They are tied with the New York Mets for the worst record in baseball at 7-15. Been a really rough start to the season for the Kansas City Royals. And my final loser before we get to break, I don't know if anybody saw this. You probably didn't, but I couldn't believe. I thought it was a typo, but I saw it yesterday. So Fort Hays Tech Northwest softball hosted Northern Oklahoma College of Enid. And yesterday, they were scheduled to play a doubleheader yesterday and a doubleheader today. They played one game, and that's the only game they're going to play. This rest of the series was canceled after Fort Hays Tech Northwest lost 60-0 to Northern Oklahoma Enid yesterday. 60-0. That's right. 60-0. I was looking at the box score. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a typo. I could not believe it, but it was the true score. There were 24 runs scored in one inning alone. And it was only in 5 innings that game took place. 5 innings. And they scored 60 runs on Fort Hays Tech Northwest. I don't know who you want to blame more. If you want to blame Northern Oklahoma Enid for running up the score or for Fort Hays Tech Northwest not being able to compete, I don't know what you want to do, but 60-0, that's a tough pill to swallow. Worst loss in program history. 60-0. There you go. Losers of the weekend here on the Morning Blitz. All right, let's get to a break. When we come back, we will be visiting with our good friend Henry Chisholm of DNVR Broncos. The NFL Draft is coming up. We'll be visiting with him about that from the Broncos perspective and more next here on a Monday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
First class, top notch, second to none. All these phrases can be used to describe the parts and service department at Western Sprinklers in Colby. Their service team is experienced and trained, and their parts department is always stocked and ready for repairs, not only for Valley, but for most irrigation systems. You add it all up, and you'll see why they're the best in the West at Western Sprinklers, where irrigation isn't a sideline, it's their specialty.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with Skyland Grain. Today is Monday, April 20th. Grains mixed on the overnight. May corn unchanged at 448. July unchanged at 457. December corn down a quarter at 476. May soybeans down a quarter, 1165 and a half. July down a quarter at 1181 and a quarter. September beans down a quarter at 1151. Kansas City wheat, the May contract higher 6 and a quarter at 643. July up 6 at 656. December hard wheat up 5 3/4 at 682. Chicago wheat, the May contract higher 5 cents at 594 3/4. July up 4 3/4, 602 3/4. December up 4 1/2 at 633 1/2. On the cattle side of things this morning, live cattle down 45 cents a hundredweight at $247.15. Feeders down $2.15 at $370.92. Lean hogs down 95 cents at $93.20. On the equity side of things, the Dow down 196 at 49,445. The S&P down 24 at 7,137. The Nasdaq down 71 at 26,753. Gold lower $56 an ounce at 4,823. Crude oil up $4.50 a barrel at $88.55. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call, 970-744-4484. You can call our Kansas City office at 913-748-3000 or our Ulysses office, 602-356-7800.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
At Thrasher Foundation Repair, we promise you an experience so remarkable, you'll want to leave us a 5-star review. From wet basements to bowing walls, sinking concrete to nasty crawl spaces, whatever your home's facing, you can count on Thrasher to fix it right. With over 34,000 five-star reviews and
Hello?
Henry, how's it going this morning?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, buddy. All right, man. We're going to come to you here in just about 30 seconds, okay?
Awesome. Sounds good.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yep.
Plumbing and Heating in downtown Goodland has been keeping things flowing and blowing for 95 years and counting. From pesky leaks to full-blown HVAC heroics, they're your hometown pros with nearly a century of know-how. Call McClure's Plumbing and Heating at 890-2208. That's 890-2208. And make your home comfy again, the old school way. Done right.
Miss the weekend action?
Yes, you caught me.
No worries. We've got all the highlights and lowlights covered.
Hey, okay, well, catch me up.
This is the Morning Blitz with Russ Volkmer.
All right, we're back here on this Monday morning, 8:38 Central, 7:38 Mountain Time here on the Morning Blitz. Thanks again for all the texts on the EpiBank text line, 785-899-2222. Appreciate all the thoughts and comments today. We will continue on here with the Morning Blitz. We welcome into the program our good friend from DNVR Broncos. That would be Henry Chisholm, who joins us now. Henry, good morning. How we doing? Have you recovered from yesterday and the Avs?
Oh, playoff season is tough. Yeah, we were at the Avs game yesterday. The Nuggets played 8:30 tonight, so they're going back. So, I mean, won't be home until close to midnight. It's a tough time to be a sports fan in Denver.
I mean, so is it really, or is it just? I mean, what is the? I want to dive more into this with you, and we'll just do it right now. But you know, you're following the Avs, you're following the Nuggets, you follow the Broncos, you've been following all these great storylines, and the success. I mean, what is the most exciting playoff atmosphere, Henry, of the between the Broncos, the Nuggets, and the Avalanche?
Man, that's a good question. Because the thing is, they all kind of ebb and flow a little bit. So the year the Nuggets won the championship, everybody knew that they were the best team. You know, in Denver, everybody thought that they were going to win. And so the atmosphere was just a little bit different that year in the playoffs, just a little more intense because people expected to win. I would say that was probably the best individual atmosphere since I have been in Denver. So what, like 6-7 years? But when the Broncos are in the playoffs, it's just a different animal. There's people in the streets wearing Broncos gear. It's all anybody wants to talk about. So I'd say in general, the Broncos probably have the best, and Avs playoff atmosphere, incredible as well. But that one year for the Nuggets stands out as being pretty special.
You know, they always say there's nothing quite like playoff hockey. But yeah, I was just curious. You've been to a lot of these places. You've been and covered them. And I'm telling you, there's been some great atmospheres. And it's a great time to be a Denver sports fan. What are you talking about? All this success.
Yeah. Yeah, it just means you don't get much sleep.
Well, yeah.
Other than that, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, even the Rockies, too. I mean,
True.
People don't want to give them much credit, but back-to-back wins over the Dodgers the past couple days.
Yeah.
Even at the lowest levels, Denver sports are in a pretty good place.
Colorado sports fans living high on the hog here this week. That's for sure. Real quick before we kind of dive in more into football, but what are your thoughts on the Nuggets and of course the Avalanche? How deep do you think they go in the playoffs?
To me, the Avs are the best hockey team in the NHL. Hockey's just strange though, because we've felt that way before, and then the Stars come in here and win, or whoever it may be. There's just so much randomness in the NHL playoffs. So that makes it tough to say confidently they are going to go win. But, I mean, 120 points in the regular season. There's just so many things that you can point to. The goalie's playing well, Scott Wedgwood. So I like their chances. The Nuggets are in an interesting spot because they'll hit the Spurs in the next round. And I think there are a lot of teams that are scared of the Spurs, but the Nuggets aren't one of them. I believe The Spurs ended the regular season winning 31 of their last 35 games, and 3 of those 4 losses were to the Nuggets. And you wind up having Victor Wembanyama, who teams can't figure out, but you put him up against Nikola Jokic, who can figure anybody out, and it's like he's not even out there. So I can't say I think that the Nuggets are going to get through that series with the Spurs, but there are some pretty positive signs. And then obviously taking on the Thunder to get to the finals, which will be the real test to me. Took them to 7 games last year, which makes you think that you're right there, have a chance to beat them this year, especially being a little bit healthier this year than you were last year. But that's going to be an absolute battle. I'm curious what the Spurs are going to look like, just because those guys don't have much playoff experience. But if you get through that one, we're going to be in for a pretty fun series against the Thunder.
Henry Chisholm is our guest, DNVR Broncos, but he's been covering as well the Avalanche and been following along with the Nuggets as well. There for those guys at DNVR. Okay, let's talk some Broncos. I know it's kind of not a great time to visit about it because of, we're in the thick of playoffs for other sports, but the NFL draft is coming up from the Denver Broncos. And what have you learned from your conversations with ever Coach Payton or hearing from ownership and management about what the plans are when it comes from the Broncos perspective in this coming up NFL draft?
So the Broncos don't have a first-round pick. That's the important context here. Traded that away to go get Jalen Waddle, who should be more productive than whoever their 30th overall pick would have been. But that means that they're going to be the last team to pick in the draft this year. They've got pick 62, which is in the second round. That'll be the first time to make a pick. There is a chance they trade up because they do still have 7 draft picks, and they don't have 7 open spots on the roster. So if you're drafting a couple guys in the 7th round, you're probably expecting those guys to go to the practice squad if nobody else claims them. So there's just a lot of moving parts, but a trade up would make some sense. The Broncos strategy since George Payton took over at GM has pretty simply been take the best player available. And every year before the draft, somebody asks, so what do you think of taking just the best player on the board? He just says, we're going to keep doing that because look, it's worked so far. That's how you wind up with a team that won 15 games last year and, had a chance to make a push to the Super Bowl, if not for Bo Nix's injury. So they feel pretty good about identifying the same things they've always identified, sticking to the same plan they've always stuck to. And that means that basically any players on the board, but they're just going to be looking for guys who they think have traits, big guys, strong guys, fast guys who can develop into really good players. And if that takes a couple of years, it takes a couple of years, but the coaching staff has proven they're able to develop them. And that's going to be the plan. You show up, you look at the draft board, you say, this guy's the best up on the board, and it doesn't matter who else we have at that position. We want good football players, and we trust our coaches to take good athletes and turn them into good football players.
Henry Chisholm, our guest, DNVR Broncos here on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline on this Monday morning. In your opinion, where are some holes that the Broncos need to fill, and they could possibly do that with some of these draft picks?
It's interesting because this is going to be the last year where the Broncos get to bring just about everybody back. They lost John Franklin Myers, the defensive tackle. They add Jalen Waddle, the receiver. But other than that, they stick pretty much the same. After next year, that's when they're going to have tough conversations with Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillan, 2 of their cornerbacks, hitting free agency. Ben Powers, their left guard, will be a free agent. And there's a pretty long list of those guys. And they just won't be able to bring all of their talent back in 2027 like they were able to in 2026. And so that's kind of the starting point for your need conversation. They don't really have any immediate needs. It's not going to be possible for anybody to come in and start right away, which is part of the reason why you trade that 30th pick. But you look down the line at what could be needs next year and beyond, and see if you can just start patching those now so it feels a little bit easier for a cornerback to walk in free agency or a safety, Brandon Jones, to walk next year in free agency. I think safety is a good one because you like, obviously, what you've seen from Talanoa Hufanga and Brandon Jones. Both guys have had a couple injuries, and you lost your third safety, PJ Locke, who had the big interception in the playoff game against the Bills, has made a bunch of big plays in his career, former starter for the Broncos, and was able to go get a job as a starter with the Cowboys. So can you find a way to get that third safety figured out with a rookie? I think it's possible. And with Brandon Jones entering the last year of his contract, it could be a long-term replacement if you really like what you see. Offensive line could make some sense. They put big money into the offensive line in free agency when Sean Payton first got to Denver, bringing in Ben Powers, bringing in Mike McGlinchey. And then they've paid a bunch of guys, Quinn Miners and Garrett Bowles in the time since. At some point, though, you're going to need to replace those guys with cheaper options. Ben Powers up after this year. Could you find a guard, let him sit on the bench for a year, plug him into the lineup next year? I think 62 is going to be an interesting spot. Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard from Oregon, he would be a pretty good fit, actually from Colorado as well. Kalen Rutledge, the guard from Georgia Tech, I think would be a good fit. Both those guys might be off the board more like pick 40 than 62. And then you're talking about trading up. So I think offensive line depth, investing there is something they really believe in and haven't been able to recently. Safety, there's room. Linebacker, room for a backup, but you probably have the same starters for at least 2 more years. And running back too. Just knowing where J.K. Dobbins is health-wise. He says he's back to full speed, but we've kind of lived this story over and over again. Can you really trust that to be the case when you get to January? Maybe not. And so you could draft a running back early, although, you just spent a second-round pick on R.J. Harvey last year. He had 12 touchdowns. Can you really spend another second-round pick on a running back again this year? I don't know.
Henry Chisholm, once again, our guest, DNVR Broncos on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. So you don't expect Denver to trade up. You kind of expect to kind of sit where they are and take the best available player for the most part?
I think that's most likely. I think so they have pick 62, and then they have 108 and 111 in the 4th round. So if you were to trade up, you could trade 108 or 111 with pick 62 and get up from 62 to 55, 54. So the value just really isn't there for a trade this year. They do have or expect to have 10 picks next year in what's considered a better draft than this year's draft. So there's a chance they would be willing to trade, next year's 3rd with a 2nd this year, and that might bump them up a little bit higher. But I would say most likely not trading, but they will be having those conversations. It's just that the picks that they have don't lend themselves to trading up to 35 or 40. It's more so, can you get up 6-7 spots if you feel like there's only one guy you like left on the board? And then you have to find the right trade partner. So I'd say more likely they sit there, but they will be asking about trading up, especially if, they say there are 6 guys that they've been really looking at for pick 62. 3 or 4 of them are off the board with 10 picks to go. They'll really be on the phones trying to find their way up to try to get one of those remaining players.
Henry, one of the reasons why, of course, the Broncos don't have a lot of draft picks is for the reason of Jalen Waddle, which we haven't talked to you since the Jalen Waddle deal. What are your thoughts on that happened with Jalen Waddle and bringing him to the Broncos and what they had to give up to get him and what he could be worth in the return investment?
It's a good deal. Receiver has become a premium position in the NFL. It's not quarterback, it's not edge rusher. But when you look at everything else, tackles and corners, the way they're paid, receivers right up there. I think it's hard to get good receivers, those top 10, top 15 type guys, because teams don't let them hit free agency. You're not going to see Amon-Ra St. Brown as a free agent. You're not going to see certainly Justin Jefferson as a free agent. And Jalen Waddle is outside that tier of players. But, if you go into the offseason saying the one thing we're lacking is a true playmaker on offense, specifically as a weapon in the passing game, sometimes you just need to pull the trigger and get the deal done and go get that guy. Jalen Waddle's interesting. He obviously, the speed is what stands out. Everything he can do down the field, the go routes, the post routes, he just finds space and he gets upfield so quickly that you don't feel like the quarterback has to sit in the pocket in order to throw the ball deep. You're able to get those out quickly because he can eat up 15 yards and break in on a post, and he'll just be open right there while the pocket's still alive. I was surprised, though, what he can do underneath. It's all the quick stuff, the out routes, the quick little slants. That's where I didn't realize he had as much as he had, because just the quickness in and out of the break, the ability to keep speed in and out of the break makes him a lot more well-rounded than I had realized, just as somebody who watched football but wasn't tuned into the Dolphins every week. I'm curious what he can do with Bo Nix. Bo Nix has never had like a a number one receiver before. You have Cortland Sutton there, who's a good receiver, who's going to be a 1,000-yard guy. But you look at some of the other guys around the league, and if you're the Vikings, your offense is essentially throw the ball to Justin Jefferson and then work your way, build an offense around that. This changes things a bit for the Broncos because for Jalen Waddle, he's had a 1,350-yard season. He's had a couple others, I think maybe all of them over 1,000 yards. Might have been one in the 900s. But does that mean he comes in here and he's a 1,300-yard guy because he's in a healthier offense than what he was in with Miami? Is he more just like that 1,000-yard, good, number one, solid, productive receiver? And I think a lot of that depends on Bo, because there's a lot that Jalen Waddle does over the middle of the field that Bo has struggled with. So 10 to 20 yards downfield between the numbers, Bo Nix was 32nd out of 33 quarterbacks in passer rating. Only Spencer Rattler is behind him. Jalen Waddle caught the third most catches of any receiver in that box, 10 to 20 yards downfield in between the numbers last season. So something's kind of got to give there. Either Jalen unlocks this piece of Bo's game, or the two of them just aren't necessarily a great fit because their strengths don't align perfectly. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But if the middle of the field opens up, it's going to be a great deal. And on top of that, that's going to open up Evan Ingram in the middle of the field and underneath, which is one of the big disappointments from last season, was the inability to take advantage of him in that part of the field. So I like it. I think the upside's obvious. And to me, it's going to come down to, can you hit him for 12, 13, 14-yard gains in the middle of the field? And if you can, the offense is going to look a lot better this year.
Henry Chisholm, DNVR Broncos. Henry, it's always great to visit with you, my friend. Continue to enjoy these late nights of playoff sports.
Oh, thank you. The 8:30 tip-off is just a little bit late. I don't know that we need 8:30. 7:30 is fine. 8:30 is asking a lot.
I'm with you, buddy. Well, be well. We'll catch up soon. Thanks again for the time.
Yep, thank you.
Once again, great stuff there from Henry Chisholm, DNVR Broncos, here on the Morning Blitz. Okay, let's get to a break. When we come back, we are going to Garrett has got his stuff figured out. He will be joining the show here in just a matter of moments after the break, and we will wrap up the show with the leftovers next here on the Morning Blitz.
At F&B Bank, we believe local businesses are the heart of our community. That's why we're more than just your bank. We're your neighbor, your customer, and your biggest supporter. From the corner cafe to the hardware store downtown, we're walking the same streets, shopping the same shops, and investing in the same future, yours. We're here, we're local, and we're always in your corner. F&B Bank, banking built on community, member FDIC.
Got your tax refund? Don't blow it. Upgrade it at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get into a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $7,000 in rebates or 2.9% for 48 months. Or into a 26 GMC Sierra 2500, $1,000 rebate or 4.9% for 48 months. And the 26 GMC Acadia 2.9% APR plus $750 in rebates with GM Financial. Your refund won't last, but a new GMC will. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or visit hurlchev.com.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber-A's Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber-A's Hardware probably has it. They eat and have milk. Hoover Lumber-A's Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport!
On the Morning Blitz.
All right, we got just a couple minutes left to go for the leftovers here on the Morning Blitz. We wanted to do this at the beginning of the show, but technical difficulties did not allow it. That's all right. It happens on this program. Welcome to the program. Our new co-host on the Morning Blitz, Garrett Wellbrock, joins us on the it's on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Good morning, amigo. Sorry for the stressful morning, but welcome to the show.
Very stressful, but happy to be here and glad we got everything figured out. Man,
welcome to Small Market.
Doesn't want to work sometimes.
Welcome to Small Market Radio, where it's baptism by fire, trying to figure out everything and why it doesn't work.
My goodness. Yeah, I think I went through about every setting on my computer that I possibly could. And for some reason, there was just the microphone was turned all the way on the volume, all the way down to 0.
Yeah. So once again, it's like going through a checklist in your brain about what in the world is not working and working your way through it all the way to the source. It's one. Trust me, you're not the first person to be in this part, so don't feel too bad. But Garrett Walbrock is on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. You will see him there a lot more. He'll be joining me throughout the foreseeable future. He is our new co-host. He is also the new voice of Colby Eagles on 100.3 The Ride. He'll be starting that. He'll be moving to Colby in June. He is wrapping up his collegiate stay at Fort Hays State here until he graduates in mid-May. But he's going to join us early here on the morning list because, as he told me, I don't have too hard of classes. I think I can make it work.
Oh, I'll be able to make it work. That's for sure. Yeah. Only one in-person class for the rest of the month or so. Even less than a month now, but yeah, one in-person class. Pretty nice.
It's like super senioritis. It's unbelievable how much of that. So you guys get away with that stuff. But anyway, we're glad that you're with us, and we're looking forward to being on the show full time. And once again, sorry about today. It's just part of the deal. But anyway, yeah, let's. I'll wrap up the show here real quick. Stick around here. We'll get your thoughts on a couple of these things. But a couple things we didn't hit in the leftovers here. First and foremost, a tough weekend for Colby Community College softball. The Lady Trojans lost another doubleheader, this time to Butler, 8-0 and 10-2. They were no hit in game 1, gave up 4 home runs in game 2, but they've lost 4 in a row for the first time this season. They are now 24 and 21, 15-8 in the Jayhawk. Good weekend on Good Friday for Goodland baseball and softball. Softball swept Trigo 15-0 and 18-8. And Goodland baseball with a 15-0 win over Decatur Community this past Friday. And then Saturday, little golf invite up there at the Atwood Country Club, the Rollins County Golf Invitational. Decatur Community, your winners, led by Caden Shaw with a 6 over 78. There is golf today locally. You've got Goodland and Colby golf teams going to compete at the Ulysses Invitational at Bentwood Golf Club. What's your handicap, Garrett? Do you have a handicap, or are you not one of those guys that gets the link very much like yours truly?
You know, I do try to get out there every now and then. This year, I haven't been out as much, but last summer, I went about every weekend or so. I'm all right. You know, I don't play. I try to play as well as I can, but I would say if I had to, I don't really keep my handicap, but I'm probably in the 15 to 20 range. I can get some pars, maybe a birdie here and there, but it's mainly bogey golf for me.
You know what? You and me would be a good team. We'd be both, well, I don't know if we'd be a great team to win any money, but we'd be at least equally competitive. Yeah, we're about bogey golf players, where I'd say we're about at.
And I'm fine with that. I can live with that. I will go to sleep perfectly fine knowing I'm a bogey golfer.
You and me both, brother. Well, that's perfectly fine with me too. I mentioned earlier in the show, the Rockies, big win Sunday over the Dodgers, 9-6. They have a chance to win that series over LA if they can win tonight in game 4. That would be exciting. And boy, the Royals, like I mentioned, they've lost 7 in a row. Of those two, I know you're a Mariners guy, and if you watch on the Hurl Chevrolet James Division, you can see the Mariners uniform hanging in the background. So he's a Mariners guy. Do you follow the Rockies or the Royals at all in any sort of capacity?
Oh yeah, I do. I love baseball, and so I would say I'm more Royals because that's my dad's a huge Royals guy, but I do like the Rockies as well. One of my friends is a huge Rockies fan, and he's excited about it. He keeps saying it's Rocktober is back, even though they're about to possibly win an April series against the Dodgers. But hey, you got to take your small wins, and that'd be awesome for the Rockies. I do hope they become competitive this year again, and it's always better when the Rockies are good.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. Anyway, that's kind of a quick of that. Let's get to the walk-off. We got to get out of here.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
I don't know how much of a hockey fan you are. Hockey's not really that big where we're at, but just a few miles down I-70, you've got the Avalanche, which took a 1-0 series lead over the LA Kings with a 2-1 win yesterday. They got game 2 coming up Tuesday. The Nuggets and T-Wolves, by the way, play tonight there at Ball Arena. But you happen to see for the first, I know it's been a long time since there's been playoff hockey in Buffalo, but the Sabres, with an unbelievable performance, they score 3 goals down 2-0, score 3 goals in a 4-minute span to win their first playoff game in a long time.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not a huge hockey guy myself, but if I do happen to turn it on, I think it's awesome. Like, I mean, that when USA and the Winter Olympics beat Canada, I mean, everybody waking up early to go watch that. I mean, hockey has a real good fan base. And I mean, I definitely want to get into it more. I think honestly, their playoffs might be even better than the NBA at times. I mean, it is electric in those arenas.
No doubt that they're better than the NBA, simply because it could all end on a shot. You know, there's, you get into overtime, a goal that gets in the back of the net, it's over, baby. In the NBA, it's not like it's a sudden death shot. No, you got a clock time. So, and watching the fan, I just love seeing fan reactions. Those Buffalo fans, I mean, think about it. You're Buffalo. You love hockey. It snows up there all the time. You've got massive snow blowers. You love cold winter sports, and you haven't had that kind of success. That was cool to see for that fan base for sure. So,
that's awesome.
Well, tomorrow Garrett will be on for the full show because he's got all his technical things worked out, and we hope that you'll tune back in and join us for another edition of the Morning Blitz. For Mr. Garrett Waltbrock, I'm Ross Volkmer. See you back here tomorrow for Tuesday on the Blitz. Have a good one.
Got your tax refund? Don't blow it. Upgrade it at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get into a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $7,000 in rebates or 2.